edition. I think they have a new one recently out. The engine itself got a new version.
Okay.
Huge problem for me, yes, that was.
This is just a QR code for interest survey. This is just to help us plan what we should focus on in future meetings. So if you would, if you guys can go ahead and fill it out.
Just scan it for.
Yeah. I'll do posted and this will be here.
There you go.
Put it in drive.
Is this the same type of
This is. Can you go to share and copy this document? Or if there's another way.
That was on.
I don't know. He's online in Discord. Also Zach. Yeah. You think he's on Discord?
He is on Discord or what?
Who, Edward or Zach? Edward. I think Edward's doing something. I don't know who Zach is though.
So, if everyone's done with the survey, I'm just gonna go into a little bit of an introduction as far as what we have lined up for the agenda. Pretty much what we're gonna start off and kick off this month with is the C++ game project. We're gonna try to program a game using C++ through the SMFL textbook that Alex has. And he's gonna go more into detail about what kind of games you can make and what kind of games people might be interested in programming. But the goal is as we start getting people into the club and they have different paces at to which they're working on, the goal is to have everyone that's here today get started, especially since you guys are already familiar with C++. I don't think there's no one here that's like new to it to the point to where they can't get the gist of what the textbook is going to be going over. But the other part is, as people start coming in after the fact that we've already started the project today, there's going to be material for them to be able to kind of catch on what the ideas are, where the project is as far as stage, what the goal is as far as like by the end of the month. Because going into March, we're going to be doing web development. And Zach, who's the social media content creator for the club, is going to be going more into that web dev. We've already done web dev in the past as a club, so we're going to be resurfacing that a little bit more, because overall what we want to do by the end of this school year, by the end of the semester, is to be able to have one, a project that you guys already have under your belt that you guys can actually show for, and then two, to be able to have some sort of collaboration effort with other people that may not be so much heavy on like the C++ or the programming languages, but they're more into the web dev and graphics and things of that nature. And all of these are going to be complementary. So while you guys are working on the games, then people come in maybe later on and they pick up the web dev stuff, you guys are going to be collaborating onto a web page for the game, or maybe a web page for the club site, and then they might be able to just see what you guys have been doing to kind of get an understanding of what the club has to offer for them in the future. Did you have a question? No. After we do the web dev stuff in March, and keep in mind we have hackathons, we have other events, we're going to be doing some cross collaboration with some of the other clubs on campus. We're also going to be trying to get people that are in the tech space, that are in the computer science field working. We've had that last semester, and I think that was really good to get insight as to what jobs are out there, how you can navigate the academic space to land an opportunity, and then also just to have an opportunity to get some sort of mentorship for the day as well during this club meeting, and that's going to be more towards April. And the goal is by April with this C++ game, depending on how far you guys take it, right? If you guys want to make it more, I wouldn't say complicated, but more in-depth and actually try to make something out of it, you guys will be able to have that time in April to actually start like showcasing it. And by the end of the semester, you guys will be able to have it on a web page with a link for people to try it out and test it and get feedback as to how that game is performing, right? And all that feedback is going to be useful because now you guys are going to know what to go based off of to improve it, or when you guys work on the next project, whether it's C++ or something else, you guys know what to look for as far as user interactions and things of that nature. I'm going to go ahead and let Alex take over to introduce the game. And yeah, you guys do it.
Does the screen thing work? Can I plug it in?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Got Visual Studio on there, yeah? Or is it? Sure. I can run it off my laptop.
Professor Marsh, I got a question. Do we need to like download any extensions for this club? Yeah. We shouldn't. It's all the C++?
This, you have to link the libraries, which are a bit of a nightmare.
But does it explain how to do it?
Yes. Also, it's on the website, but also not the best explanation. But I'm not going to bother too much with it. If people are interested, I will, probably by next Friday, I'll have a explanation up. Or anything like that. Sure, I'll just grab my laptop. To go over the book real quick, the book actually tries to teach you C++ while it's trying to teach you SMFL, which stands for Simple and Fast Media Language. It is open source and it powers through pretty hard, I would say, through C++. The book has about 5 to 6 games. The first one's pretty simple, the Timber game. Second one is Pong. Third one is a top-down zombie shooter, so to speak, and then like a very simple 2-person platformer. If you could get to those, that would be pretty nice, but it's a pretty deep in there, I would say. Let me get this up. I'm just gonna go over like the basics real quick. I'm not gonna get too deep into the C++, I guess. drive here. First things first. So I actually wasn't here for the Python games thing. I'm not sure what the structure for that was. So if we just go over to their marker stick. Did it. Alrighty. Let's go over it from the top. Not sure how many of you guys know C++. Here, up here is the declaration. This actually takes a little while to set up, so it can import all the libraries for you to use for this game. I don't know why this keeps opening. Okay. Let's start here. After I set this up, and we're using HNSF, I'm going to ignore that. You're going to set up two things. Video mode VM, 1920 by 1080. This gives you a video object. And these values that I'm giving it, give it size. Right? So when I say 1920, 1080, it's going to be 1920, 1080. Technically it's -1, but it's because here is 0, 0, 0, 0. For you guys to get an idea. So this is the furthest point. This is 1920 by 1080 on this corner here. If we're looking at the thing. Once you make this object, it has these sizes, and you have to hand it over to render window. Right? This is just a convoluted way of linking them together, if you will. Texture, background. Okay, textures. Let's go over textures real quick. So I have just this window, and I want to load a picture into it. Right? So, I guess I'll explain textures. Textures are pictures you want to load onto the graphics card. You're preloading this thing onto your computer before everything fires up. Right? So let's say I have a picture that matches this size. Right? I want to put the picture into here. Right? It will draw the picture from this point out. So if you have, we'll get to this later, I think. But the screen is split in half, like this. Pull it through. I have a picture of a guy. And I want to load the picture into the middle of the screen. I'm sorry, I'm mainly doing it right here on the board. If I load the picture into the screen, when I load him in, he'll load from the top out. From the top out. So he'll actually load like this. Right? He won't be centered. He'll be off. So you gotta push through and ignore this. Once you have the texture, the background picture, you can load it into a sprite. So what's actually happening is this picture is being loaded onto your graphics card, but it's not actually appearing here. You have to move it into place by attaching it to a sprite. So I load in the texture, I log it to a sprite, and then I can tell the sprite where to load the picture. Right, let me double check that this is all empty. Okay. So once I set up the video, I set up a picture texture, I link it to a sprite, I tell the sprite to appear from this point out, right? It'll only load when I tell it to load. Don't take any notes, you guys. This is just a basic explanation for now. I'm getting too deep into it. Let's just go ahead. I'm running through it. This is pre-setup. All I've done so far is make the window, load the texture, but I haven't done anything else. We're going to go over the basic game loop. Go too deep just for this, hey? Ah. Huge. While opening. Who here knows like the basic game loop? Right? Anybody else? So, all games that you've ever played are just one big loop. The whole game just starts from top down. You go, you load in your character. Well, we can read it here. Let me scroll down. They give you the basic 3 steps. Handle player input, update the scene, draw the scene. Input, update, draw. So until you hit this, nothing is on the screen. Right? So everything I just did, all that garbage of setup I just talked about, that's prep. That's prepping a window, and then all my textures. My picture of a guy, picture of a bee, or whatever. So at this point, before I even hit this loop, this is all I've set up. This is all we have currently. Now once this starts going on, it goes, what's happened so far? It checks if anything's happened. If anything's happened, we update it. Once it's updated, we draw it to the screen. What happens here is these guys start to snap into place. Earlier, I said load this big picture of like whatever I have. Yep.
I have a question.
Sure thing.
This is just in C?
This is all C++,
Are we
yes.
using a different library?
Yeah, so when you see things up here, when you see the word video mode, render window, texture, that is all being given to me thanks to the SFML library up here.
Okay, so we're using.
Right, so when you see video mode, you're like, what is video mode? What's happening? That's being provided by SFML, and you'll be doing this every time.
That's in the
That's at the
C
top.
libraries automatically or you third party?
This is open source.
Okay.
You just added this functionality.
We'll have to download it before we
Yeah.
can actually.
Yeah, if you go to the website, SFML, or just Google SFML, is the first thing that pops up. SFML. There it is. Simple and fast multimedia library. Then you go downloads. For this project, we want the old version. Because the new version added extra parameters to functions, destroying me yesterday, for sure. Old versions, and a lot of garbage needs to match. You could go straight to 262. Or no, I'm gonna go with the older version, because as you see here, well, it doesn't matter. For Visual Studio, there's a bunch of garbage, where Visual Studio automatically runs 14, C++ code 14. So if you download any of these, this one says 15, 16, 17, you have to change it in your settings for it to properly run.
For sure.
So we go for latest version.
No, not for this project.
Older
This is an old version. I can walk through it later. I'm just trying to get to like a basic view of something.
For sure.
Let's see here. So we're in the game loop. Input, update, draw. We're ignoring this. We're just going to the draw part. Earlier here, when I have this picture I want for my background, I say put picture at 0, 0. The top of the screen here is 0, 0. This is 1080, technically 1079, doesn't matter. And this one is, wait, this is 1920, this is 1080. Right? So the coordinates here is 0, 0. This point here is 0, 0. I say take this picture and load it here into this 0, 0. As I said earlier, pictures load from here out. You could change it, but right now I'm just going to go, hey, take this 0 and match it to this. So this will draw my image to the screen. see it in the right. Let me scroll down. Window, here they are. Three things are happening. Windows clear, Windows draw, background, sprite background. Like I said, we linked it to a sprite. Windows.display. What's happening here, this is actually double buffer. Windows clear, Windows draw, Windows display is a double buffer. So what's happening is you actually have two screens. Right? First thing that happens, Windows clear. Whatever was here, I wipe. Then Windows draw sprite background, my background picture is drawn. Right? Then Windows display swaps it. Right? So this is what's on my screen right now. It swaps it with this. So this is now on my screen. The loop repeats. We go back up, we come back down, it goes Windows clear. I clear this picture. I go Windows draw, I draw my background. I go Windows display, it stops displaying this image, it starts displaying this image. It does this every frame. So every time this code runs from top to bottom, it goes clear this image, draw to this image, display this image. Next time it comes around, it wipes this other one, draws to it, and swaps it. It goes back and forth to make a smooth transition. Let me just run this. So, the first game, should just display the background. There it is. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm just loading this picture in. Each time the frame runs, it displays the picture, then it clears the other screen, draws the picture, displays it, then it clears the other screen, draws the picture, displays it, so it's back and forth. So let's say I draw a V right here. Then I say move the V. So this is currently displayed, yeah guys? On my screen, and I draw a V here. If we go back to the loop, clear. So let's say I have the same image here, and then here's the V again. We can walk through it. Windows clear. So currently, this is on my screen. Right? Windows clear clears this other one. I wipe everything off. I go draw the background. Then I say take the V where earlier I moved the V, let's say. I moved the V right here. And I say swap. So when the screen swaps, the V would have moved a tiny piece. So next time it comes around, I say, okay, wipe this one now. Draw the screen. Draw the V slightly to the right. Swap. Now the V has moved a little bit again. Sorry guys, I'm kind of blazing through it. I really should have thought about maybe slowing it down.
So everything that he's been mentioning so far is exactly the same as it worked in our Python projects, for those of you who participated in those.
From what I saw of Python, they looked a lot familiar, but there's a lot of convoluted setup here
Yeah.
that also allows a lot of adjustment.
Right, yeah, Python was a lot more loosey-goosey about it, but the general structure of it all is the same. For those of you who participated on that, on the Python one, it was, we do the setup, and then we start the game loop, which is just an infinite loop until the window closes. We update our drawing based on, whatever's going on in the game, the physics of it, or the user inputs, and then we draw that to the screen, right? So should all be very similar if you did that one. I don't remember who here did and didn't, but it's.
The book is a lot slower. Just chapter 1, it does like the basic main. It explains main. It explains int. Whatever, it's trying to teach you C++.
Yeah, it's trying to teach you
but then they also mentioned double buffering in like chapter 2.
Yeah, it's trying to do the very basics.
Okay. Let's see here. We're back to setup again. Right? This is slightly updated now. You just saw me load the screen in, right guys? So, once again, if we look at the structure of a game, we are setting up objects before our loop, right? So, set up, and then while. We're going to set something up, then the game starts. And then we just play the game while whatever this is, true. In our case, do I cover that now? I'll do it in a moment. Let's look at what I'm setting up. First things first, I'm setting up two things. Once again, we have to do texture, link it to sprite. I'm going to do a texture of a tree. Right? I load in this texture, I link it to a sprite called sprite tree. This is my screen here. Pretend I'm legit loading this somewhere off screen. Then I'm also going to load in a texture for a bee, and I'm going to call it sprite bee. So over here somewhere, I'll load in a bee, and I'll call it bee. Right? All I'm doing is I'm going, here's a picture, load it in, attach it to something called tree. Here's a picture, load it in, attach it to something called bee. Picture B. If you look at the line here, sprite B dot set position 0, 800. What do you guys think that means?
You're making it, that's the parameter you want it to move within.
So if we go over again, it's this corner here is 0, 0.
Is that pixels?
Yes, this is all pixels. And then 800. So again, 1920s on this side, 1080 on this side. It goes X. So we're saying 0, 800. So we're going to plot it at 0 on the X, 800 on the Y. This is 800 here. And again, as I said, currently we're loading the picture from here out. So at this point, my B should appear right there. If we go back to my tree, where's the tree? If you look at the tree, it's 810, 0. Where do you think that is on the screen? So the first number is X. This is left and right, X. The second number is Y, that's up and down. So if we're at 810, 0. So on the left and right, we go to 810. And 0 means we don't go down. It's literally right there on the line. As you notice, 810 isn't actually half of the screen. It's not loading in to the middle of the screen because of how the tree image works. This right here, this corner, this left corner of the tree, is where it'll load out from. So from 810, it will load the tree into the middle. So if I run this code here, where's my B? Oh, I turned off the display. Okay, hold on. So as you can see, the tree's right there, right? We go down into here, back into the draw thing, clear screen, draw background, draw tree, and here's draw B. If you notice, it is a bit annoying. I have to draw each one. I'm drawing tree, I'm drawing B, I'm drawing background. Also, this order matters. I'll show that in a moment. So if I run this, my B should be, there it is. There's my B. How do I make this guy move?
Position.
How do I make this B? Like right now I set it here. Let's say I wanted to set it to this side. What would I change?
You gotta loop it. You gotta loop it.
His position.
Well, like I said, I have it set, right? The B is set to 0, 800 means it's here. Okay, but what if I do like 800, right? So if I go into my code,
You load in your keyboard or mouse?
no, how would the beat go? You have to tell it. So here's the beat. It's 0, 800, right? Like I showed you guys. This is 0, 800. But let's say I want to move it back a little bit, right? On the left, right, the first position is X. So if I change this to 100 and I run it, see how the B is slightly off now?
It's kind of almost like HTML.
Yeah. So I've been blazing through this to get to the fun part, I guess. Here we go. I actually have the formula. How do we move the B? Let's say I make the B move 200 pixels per second. How would you make it move 200 pixels per second? Right? At 200 pixels per second, our screen is almost 2,000. It would take us 10 seconds for the B to go from one side of the screen to the other if we make it move at that speed. That's where frame rate comes in. My white. So after I did the setup, I do this while loop, right? Where I do the update and I draw the B and I draw the tree and I draw the background. How long do you guys think this takes?
10 seconds.
10 seconds? How many times do you think this happens per second?
Oh.
Right? This happens probably, thousands of times per second. It is able to draw that B onto the screen 1,000 times in 1 second. Right? 1,000 times. Now the problem is, my computer, let's say, does it 1,000 times in 1 second. But let's say you have a better computer. Your computer can do it 4,000 times in 1 second. Right? So if I go, hey, move my B 1 pixel to the left, or this way over on going right. Say, move my B 1 pixel to the right. What do you think will happen? Right? My B is right here. And I go, move 1 pixel to the right. Every frame. This B would be out here somewhere in a split set, not even a 0.000 of in one. Like, I don't even, an insane part of a second, it'd be off the screen and gone forever. Because how fast your computer is. Let's say you have a very bad computer, and it's at 10 frames a second. I don't even know how. 10 frames. So it can do this loop 10 times in 1 second. Where will your B be? Right? If it can do 10, so it would travel 10 pixels in 1 second. It would barely move, you guys. It would legit move from the edge of the screen a little bit out, depending on how good or bad your computer is. How do we fix this? How do we make the B move correctly? You guys ever see those guys time outside when they do laps? Somebody's doing a lap around the track, and there's a guy sitting here with a stopwatch. You guys remember those guys?
Yeah.
So every time I do a lap, he hits the thing. And he goes, hey, that lap was 266. I do another lap, he goes, hey, that lap was 242. Another one, I go, okay, that was 220. Look at that, you're getting faster. Remember that?
So you got to clock it?
Our computer can do that, yeah. We can go in here and set up a timer. Where I go hit this every time you're here. So when I go from here and back around, when I get here, it'll go, hey, that was 0.0012 of a second. Right? So if I wanted to move 200 pixels per second, I would say take 200 and times it by this 0.00 whatever. And this would give me 0.001 or something. So I'll go, okay, move the B 0.001 of a pixel this way. Next time it does it, it'll do it again. Except, let's say my computer runs faster all of a sudden for some reason. Guess what? This adjusts, right? So if it went from here to here too quickly, it'll go, hey, that was actually pretty quick, you know, we lost this 2, went to 0. Guess what? The formula is still the same. No matter what, your B will now travel 200 pixels to the side in 1 second. Right? Let me pull that up for you guys. You guys thrilled? Are you guys at the edge of your seat or what?
Are you not
I'm ready to get you.
Are you guys ready for the B? It's gonna move, you guys.
I don't think we're ready for it. I don't know.
Damn. All right, here is the code. First off, we're gonna include something called, where is it? Clock. That is our stopwatch, and we're calling it clock. We go back into our loop, and in the loop, we go, hey, here it is. This is my timer. Time, DT, delta time, military, means time between things. So, each time this hits, DT is this point whatever of a second per frame. Then I go, hey, if my B isn't active, I preset the B to be not active. And I go, hey, first time you hit this, is my B active? No? We're gonna make it active now. SRAM, I'm gonna ignore, that's seeding. And here's the formula for B speed. Let me see here. So we don't want the B just to move the 200, right? We want the B to move different speeds every time it flies by, right? And also, I don't want it to fly the same line. What kind of boring B is that? I want the B to vary in speed and height as it flies across the screen. So I'm going to give it 2 random values. B speed is equal to ran 200 plus 200. So I'm going to make the speed minimum 200, and if the B is lucky, it'll get up to 200 more. So it could be up to 200 fast. 400 fast. Fast B, it could also be kind of slow. Then height. I'm going to go, hey, how high do you want the B? I'm going to say the B is going to be a minimum of 500 height, but give me a random number between 1 and 500. So the B could be up to 1,000 high. So on my screen again, I'm saying the B is going to be minimum here, but as high as here. Sprite B set position 2,000 height. What do you guys think that line does? 2,000. Remember, our screen is 1920 long.
That's going off the screen.
That's off the screen, and height will just randomly generate, like I said. So let's say the random generation hits, and it gives us 600. So I'm setting the B at 2,000, so right out here somewhere. And at 600 height, probably a little higher, right here. So I kind of messed up. So my B is going to be right out here. This is where my B is. So once the B is set up, where is my calculation? Once the B is up and running, we could get its position. We go, where is my B currently? Right? My B is currently at 2,000. 2,000, and then, yeah, 2,000, and at 600 height. Minus B speed times DT as seconds. So it's at this location, 2,600, X is the 2,000, so I don't actually even need this part. My B is currently at the location 2000. I don't care about the height is gonna stay at the same height. And we say B speed, which we'll say is randomly 200 or something, times our delta seconds, 0.001, or whatever it is, and then keep height the same. Every frame, this will happen. So I go, where is the B? It goes right here. I go, okay, minus from this 2000, 200 times delta, which is going to be 0.00 whatever, 2 of a pixel. So minus 2000 becomes 1999.008. My B will move a fraction of a pixel. But remember, if I do 1,000 frames in 1 second, my B will move 200. So in 1 second, the B will be around right here. In another second, it'll be like right there. In another second, it'll be right there. So if I run this, there you go. Hold on, you guys. Oh my God, we're programmed.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a bit advanced. How does this system handle the fractions of a pixel? Does it just like truncate? Do you know?
I'm sure the book mentions, but I am spacing out because this 1920 is important. But I forget how deep the flow is for how much it carries.
Right, because typically you can't
Yeah,
I mean, you can't display in fractions of a pixel because the screens just can't.
sure, but like even if you can't see it, once the next frame hits.
Yeah, so that's why I'm curious, because I know that in our the Python programs it would truncate. So
Yeah.
if you tried to move by a fraction of a pixel, it just wouldn't.
These are all fractions of this.
Okay.
Because you have to remember, my delta time is what's my frames.
Right.
So if my frame is 1,000 divided by my delta of 1 second or whatever, this is 0.0000 whatever, times the 200. So I'm moving a fraction of a frame per frame, a fraction of a pixel per frame.
Right.
It's doing it right now, there it goes.
And it's still keeping track of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let's just show you what the final game looks like. This is the first game. I hope you guys had a riveting time. I definitely could have watered this down to be a lot more simple, but going through it now, I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty heavy from what I remember. Let me see here. Up to B, this should be it, I think. Open, wait. Can I load everything? Copy. KD. See if it'll run, or am I missing something? There he is. So I'm gonna hit enter. Hold on. Dang. So you can adjust the bar. This is like an old version. It gets a little better. They set it to center. And then as your score goes up, the amount of bar you get back lowers. So the higher your score, the less you get per chop. Currently per chop is giving you a bunch, so it's hard to run at a time. If you notice the clouds in the back are all doing the same thing as the V. And if you notice, these branches are all actually the same. They're the same branch. Hold on, let me run this again. And there we go. So you see how there's branches there. So these branches, you only need the one texture. I only need the one branch to load in, right? This is my texture branch. I can make a bunch of sprites and attach them all. So I have branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, and I go, hey, this is him, this is him, this is him. All three of these guys can now load each one of these branches in. It's the same branch. So when this guy goes, this guy is actually a right branch, and this guy is a left branch. This is a left. So it goes, hey, what am I? You're a left branch. Stay as you are. Load at, where's the tree? Load at this location. What is your height? Or whatever, because this is like, there's a enumerator that goes 0, 1, 2, 3. And it goes, what's your height? 0. Okay, what's your side? Left. You're loading here. If you get one of these right ones, all it does is it rotates the picture. It flips it. And actually it doesn't rotate, it inverts the picture into the opposite side. These aren't separate branches. These are all the same branch. There's only one picture of a branch. But it's able to invert the branch for you to load it onto the other side. All right. If you guys are interested, I can do a way dumber version talking about C++. Because there's a lot of C++ here that I didn't even touch.
Right, I think the funnest and most productive thing would be to try and get everybody to get that library, to get the whole program working, for those of us who have laptops here.
I can do a really quick walkthrough right now, because it is a bit of a headache.
Yeah, well, we can try and get that set up, because once we have that, we can just look through the code, copy it, and recreate the project, and mess around with it from there.
Sure thing. I can dump this code here and all this stuff onto Discord or GitHub.
That'd be great.
But let's do a slow, I'll do a very steady walkthrough. I'm going to open Visual Studio for
Man,
those.
what is that book?
Do we have a?
You don't like my Civic? Well, it's not one. I just
I
like
think
the
we do,
Civic.
but I don't know what it is.
Next.
I'll have to ask everyone.
So, you're making, this is Visual Studio instructions. Visual
You
Studio
got an egress door
instructions.
handle or? So like-
You gotta do place projects in the same directory.
Everybody know how to make a new project in Visual Studio? Anybody not?
You got $500 crypto came on that or
There you go.
what?
I have a blown engine and a parked car.
Okay, okay, just wanted to see, make sure that we could, that way if it was in 25.
Half off, ticket full, Memorial Day.
Do you have Visual Studio?
Yeah, this is Visual Studio
If you're not in that
instructions.
computer
There's
science,
other,
I'm using Linux on my laptop.
Gotcha, that's gonna make.
that also works though. Hold on. If you go back to SMFL and you go learn and you go tutorials, here it is for Visual Studio, code blocks, Linux, Xcode. Again, I don't know how good some of this, like the DLL instruction was a bit sketch. I would say they missed this spot. So I could create the project.
With that SML?
So you click on
SMFL?
SFM, just Google SFML and it should be the first website.
I'm already on there right now.
SFML.
Yes. SFML, that order.
Simple and fast media language. Try that again.
You said which version, 2.6?
I would say, so the easiest thing to do is to download, if you're doing Visual Studio, or downloads, the easiest thing to do would go old versions, and I would say grab 2.51, 14, because then you don't have to change your language setting. But if you don't care, we could also grab the newest one and just change the setting in Visual Studio. One sec, next, for some reason.
So we can go with 2017 or.
Create.
So we can download the newest version.
Yeah. I was having a huge issue because when I was making that video window, and I said 1920 by 1080, the new version expects a third argument. So it would run their sample code, but failed to run this program. All right. Depending
That
on,
was Visual C++ 16 2019 is 240.
sure, it doesn't matter. As long as all of your settings match, that is the biggest issue, I would say.
240 out the door.
No triple.
So it's downloaded. It's in like a zip file.
Shit, let me drop this. I already have it on the top. Once you download, you're gonna extract it. So there's two ways to store this file. You just drop it on your C drive, but your projects need to know where it is, right? It has to know where these files are. So if it's on your computer, you just point it to that, and when you open new projects, you just point it to the same location. But if you try to open it on a different computer, it's not there, it doesn't know where it's pointing. You could try and bundle it together, but when you move, the path file changes, and it won't work. This extract is taking forever. All right.
Please press extract all.
You right click. All right, there it is. I'm gonna go ahead and just drop it into the project folder. There it is. And I'm gonna go ahead and rename it to just SFML. I'm gonna open bin, Control A, Control copy. You're gonna copy all of these files into your project folder. I'll put together these instructions later. Once you have this posted, SMFL, I'm gonna open the include folder, and at the top, I'm just gonna click in the path and copy that path direction. So we know where include is.
Nice to meet you.
Back to my project. And
It's not
new
bad.
item.
Oh, there's no pressure. It's not bad. I actually had a question for him. He seems kind of busy.
Project property. We went.
Is it named source.cpp when you download it?
Download source.cpp? No, it should just be named SFML, and it should have a number of what version it is and which C++ version it is using.
No, but you like, for instance, when you put, like, pull it up in Visual Studio, is it usually named source.cpp?
When you pull it up and oh yeah, when you open a new file in Studio, it'll auto name it source.cpp, but you can rename it to main or whatever you want. All right. So when you download your SFML version, it's gonna have a bunch of stuff on it. 64-bit. What's the other? And then C++ 17 or 14 or 15. These things are very important. They have to match. If they do not match, it is a nightmare. So we downloaded 14, so we don't have to change it. So when you go project, property, C++,
Yes.
under the C++, there is a language section. Where's the language section? And there it is, language. It says standard 14. If you downloaded not 14, it has to match. If you download 15, you have to change the 14 to 16. If you download 17, you have to change the 14 to 17. But since we downloaded 14, we don't have to touch that.
So that's my way of checking.
Under general, additional directories, you add the folder that is named include. So wherever you put the SFML project, right? In my case, I put it inside my project, project 2. I put it here. So wherever your SMFL folder is, open the include folder and copy that file path. Control copy. And again, back under projects, project properties, you go. C++ general, additional directories, include. See how it says include directories, and you're adding the include folder. Under linker, there is something called additional library directories. sick. I'm gonna paste in the same thing, delete the include, type in lib. Now this one is a pain and also important. So as you see in configuration, I did debug, which is fine, I guess. And active 64, because remember we downloaded the 64-bit version? If you have the 64-bit version, make sure active platform is set to 64.
Because I know I have to go to bed. So I went to bed and copied all this stuff.
Can you say that thing again about the 64?
Yeah.
So when you go to project properties,
Properties.
this stuff here, the SFML file has to match, right? So in the top it says debug configuration, meaning this will only run in debug mode. You won't be able to run it live or whatever. And it says platform active x64. So if you download the 64-bit version, make sure this is set to 64. If you download the 32-bit version, which some people say is better because you can run it on more systems, platform needs to change to Win32. Or I guess all platforms. So these guys are a pain. You need this. So at this SFML page, for some reason, they don't have like an easy list for you to copy. If you go under Learn, Tutorial, Visual Studios, their explanation is a bit convoluted. They're like, yeah, here's all the files, but the ones you want are the -D, because that's the only one that's gonna work with debugging. So SFML graphics, Windows, audio, network, and system. The -D means debug, right? So you copy this list. I gotta get you guys a copy. And in linker input, additional dependencies, I'm going to paste it in. Okay. Why? So I don't know if you guys remember, but in the project folder, out of the SFML folder, I had to copy. So the SFML folder has a bin folder. Oh, where'd it go? You need to copy all of these guys, because there they are. SFML-system D-2 or whatever. You need to copy these guys and paste them directly into the project folder. And that's how simple it is. So easy, you guys. I don't even, the D is very
And we go to source files to open it. What do you do?
What do you mean?
So I'm trying to open it in source files, but I don't know like.
Open it in source. Have you done all the settings?
I'm like copy and pasted the things for bin.
So
Into my project file.
we have debug, active 64, C++, you have the include folder, linker, you have linker general, you have the lib folder, and then under linker input, you added these SFML graphics -D, -window, whatever. Once all of those are there, and you have copied the DLL files from the bin folder into the project folder, you may attempt to fire it up. Let me see here. I'm gonna go ahead and copy out my B project here. Actually, that's the thing too. So once this is up and running, you still need the graphics, right? The picture of the tree. Actually, here's the actual picture of you guys. Check it out. This is all the game is built on. There's nothing else in the game. You have the axe, the background, the bee, one branch, one cloud, piece of a log, player, rip, tree, tree two. That's it. That's the whole game. What you saw me doing the chopping, these are all the pictures. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pictures. It is, that entire game is 10 pictures total. Nothing else. So I copied that in as well. right, there it is. Another fun thing is, remember how I said we're drawing the background? We're drawing the tree, we're drawing the bee. The reason, so background first, then tree, then bee. Meaning the bee will be drawn on top of the tree, right? What if I just flip them? What if I have the bee drawn before the tree? What do you guys think will happen? So curious. Surely nothing changes. Holy smokes, you guys! It went behind the tree. Insane. Oh, it went higher. How does it do that? How does it choose its height? This one's kind of faster, I guess. You see this variety in speed? It's crazy.
This is better than Unreal Engine.
Right. Well, Unreal Engine is also written in C++, so we got that going for it. Let's run the game again, just to show you. I'm still actually kind of impressed, you guys, that it ran like that. 10 pictures? 10 images for the whole game? Isn't that crazy? Oh, there's another piece of code we could look at real quick, I guess, that I totally ignored. How do we exit the game? Right? Because while window is open, that's our while loop. Right? So it goes, hey, while window is open, just keep doing it. This is called the indefinite loop, meaning it'll just keep looping, right? But like somebody said keyboard earlier, right, guys? If keyboard is key pressed, keyboard escape. Windows.close. Window.close. All it's saying is, hey, whenever it hits this point in the loop, remember our loop? It goes, if escape, I forgot what it's called, escape, you guys. See it. If escape window dot close. That's how easy it is to detect key pressing. So if you want to go, hey, if the left key is pressed, you have to be more speed. So anytime it hits this part, it goes, hey, what's happening? Is the escape key pressed? Yes. Exit the game. But like, keyboard is key pressed. That's it. That's how easy it pulls what you're touching on the keyboard. Also, another thing is key pressed, meaning if you're holding the key, it will do this. There's also a different one that's like detects if the key is pressed, I think. Because again, you guys remember that 1,000 frames? And I go, hey, if you press left, make the bee go faster. If this happens 1,000 times, it's going to make the bee go faster 1,000 times. You guys have to account for that. So you can actually add a check to go, hey, if the key is already being pressed from before, don't keep increasing speed. I don't know. Again, if you guys are interested, I could go just C++. This was just trying to show you SMFL. A lot of C++ happened. I think, right? The while loop, the indefinite loop, window is open, delta time, double buffering. But again, the first chapter is all C++. Very basic. It's trying to teach you C++ at like breakneck speeds. I think that was a good chunk, you guys. What do you think? I've been up here rambling. Thank you, Mr. President.
That was good. I
Yes.
think, so, I think we'll post up the link to the to that.
I could post. We could post the link to the website. I can do basic instructions for setting up a visual studio and running this game. I do have a PDF of the book. I don't know. And it also has all of the code and whatever. So like you could run the game fully with. I can give you everything to just run the final game.
Put it up in the drive. That way we can dump it out little by little.
Sure thing. But like The first game is pretty simple, this is just Timber. The second game is Pong. The third game is a top-down zombie shooter that auto, like, sizes, right? It does first it'll do a little grid of like a certain amount of squares. And after you clear the zombies, it'll auto-generate a bigger square. And it's surprisingly advanced for the third game in this book. You can like shoot a gun, there's different 3 types of zombies, it generates them in each corners. It auto-fills this grid using a double for loop if you're a C++ guy. Sweet, double for loops. The zombies have different speeds depending on what zombie it is. You can pick up little ammunition. And I want to say the screen rotates very interestingly. I wonder if I can pull it up, but then I have to get all the pictures and whatever for it. Again, that one uses barely any pictures as well. Like that first game uses 10, this one uses, I don't know, like less than 20.
So, I think we should just pick one game, focus on that.
Well, if you can learn to do the Timber setup, you will know C++ at a basic level. If you get to the end of Tinder, which is only 5 chapters.
How does everyone feel as far as like with this the B game versus like going into something more advanced like the zombie game?
The thing is, too, the zombie game is more complex.
Yeah.
Right? It introduces arrays, double for loops, which are deeper C++ concepts. This Timber game, the concepts are within 301, I would say. If you pass the ISP 301, this first 5 chapters cover those. The zombie game is a 400 class, to give you an idea, right? Timber, if you pass 301 or you're taking 301, we can learn it. If you haven't passed 301, you haven't passed 360, touching the zombie game is just going to be very confusing. You know, because like again, this was probably confusing. We could dial it back a lot and just go step by step through the code. What is this? How does it work? And a lot of it is in the name. If key is pressed, escape. What is a while loop? What is a for loop? What is an if condition? You know, how many people understand those and how they function? The delta time formula was probably pretty complicated. Myself, took me a little bit.
How do you guys feel about that?
Good. Again, this was assuming you passed 301, right? If you guys haven't passed 301, this could be dialed back to the beginning of 301. Of just going, okay, well the book, legit, here we go. I'm gonna open chapter 1. And then, what do you think the book starts with? It legit does hello world, I want to say.
Right, yeah.
It explains how the screen is loaded, the 0, 0 thing I said. The main function literally goes int main return 0. Returning values from a function. Including features. Namespace. It explains namespace. Then it explains what a while loop is. Detecting key presses. Like, it's very slow and steady. I was just running a lot, I guess. I could have done it a lot better if I practiced. But hopefully you guys learned something, maybe. Big hope. I learned that I need to practice. And then slow down, focus on simpler features, I guess. I was trying to get to the B formula. Delta time, baby. Alright, I'm gonna hop off. Any other questions? You all good?
No, thanks.
No problem. Again, this is a lot of setup for not as much, I guess.
So you said you got a PDF, we can,
Yeah, I could dump you. So it has the PDF, it has all of the project and all of the assets. Really, I can post it up in the officer chat thing.
or is it just for you to dump it onto this one?
Yeah, I'll just drop it in.
because like depending on what extension I have on here. It should be, it says VC plus plus, correct? Is it just kind of it's updated?
the game. Going over to
For instance, here's a C plus plus, I can see. Do I need to download the extension maybe?
For you to hang up? Huh? I'm gonna upload, he's gonna drop everything on the Discord. Yeah, he's gonna drop everything on the Discord, what we went over today.
For instance, when you download Visual Studio, can you like pick what you want on there, like what type of extensions you want on there? Because I chose Linux, which is C++ plus plus.
I'm gonna be dropping, event feedback in the Discord, so you guys can give your feedback on today. You know, any recommendations and things like that. That way we kinda know as we progress throughout the semester, what we're doing right, and then areas that we can improve. And then if you have any friends, classmates, you know, invite them. Definitely wanna have more people involved. I know everyone has different schedules, you know, and assignments and due dates and stuff like that. So I know that sometimes, you know, it's gonna be hit and miss as to like when we can attend and when we can't, or events that might come up that might be on the same day as we meet as a club. So those are all things, you know, that we're gonna just be mindful of. But also, as far as like how we can also assist you, resources, connect you with maybe technological resources, internship opportunities, and then just outside, you know, outside from what the club is doing, other events that you guys can participate in. But other than that, you guys are more than welcome to hang out until 5. If you guys want to get started on what Alex was able to show us for the game. If you guys want to head out, you guys are more than welcome to head out as well.
Let me try that, maybe it'll work. So I would have to extract everything from there.
Yeah, let's just create a new project. Should we create it? Yes, again, mine doesn't have it.
Okay, create a new project. Projects.
Chilling? Chilling, yeah. So if you guys want to get started on it, you guys want to head out, yeah.
No, it is not.
I'm gonna shoot off a feedback form, that way people can give their feedback.
I think I'm gonna do
I'm just gonna send out the feedback form, that way people can give their feedback. Hey, Karen?
Okay, the property is permanent.
So, I guess it's moving.
Okay. Oh, so now we go to C++.
Yes, okay, so now that we know that, you could connect to the project. Or you can.
Okay. And the instructions are on there, like on the website, that you can do it. So I can probably follow up then and just go from there.
I was able to summarize all the stuff that we have.
Can I take a picture of it?
Yes. Appreciate it.
Alright, I appreciate your help and.
Alex, have you worked with that SM or SMFL stuff before, or is this your first time?
Halfway through the book before I got sidetracked by other garbage.
I mean, is that your first time with it, or is?
I know a lot of C++, so So it was a bit easier for me.
For sure.
It's mainly it. Oh.
Just good stuff. The idea I have about a game is like to create a game that can calculate the amount of stock exchange.
He's gonna dump it in the Discord too.
Yeah, I would try to summarize as I was listening.
A game, for instance, I would create a game that's like the money market.
Yeah, I mean.
It's like a game though, not to like mess with real money, but like that's like an.
I don't know how much that is, I mean, I just like any game where I get to like win. Where I get to yell at Twitch streamers. Like, right, Robot? Any game where you can just stomp on Twitch streamers? That's what I'm about.
What do you
Sign me up.
What do you have against this Twitch streamer?
You guys take care.
And later, see you.
Okay,
See you next week.
Okay, some of them maybe, however.
I mean, well, who else are you gonna stomp on?
I see you're in avid streams like.
Yeah, you gotta stream tonight. Thursday. No, I mean, what? I think the other streaming platform, did they go under that one that Microsoft bought?
Wait,
I thought Microsoft started, or did they just buy footage? I can't remember. I thought
they might have.
they, took one, or did one with Facebook or something and lost, and it disappeared, and then it was only Twitch left.
I don't know.
I swear, dude,
Hey,
it was,
again,
I remember,
like,
like,
the two cheapest
they went to
things
compete with Zoom.
Way more large.
And one of them got bought by Microsoft, and Facebook tried doing one, and
Just
they,
downloading it.
they all flopped.
I just wanted to showcase what you can do. I wasn't even like setting up to take a while.
Yeah.
Let's see if you're actually a student, right? Like, hey, set this up, you will never use it.
Yeah.
Here's what it can potentially do. If you're interested, hey, let's do it.
I don't need to stream tonight, but I'll be like,
How things move and
I'll
everything.
definitely,
Yeah.
Trying to make it interesting.
I'll definitely
Because
take
a lot
a
of
lobby,
these
though.
concepts are not.
No, you in the
I'm
lobby.
trying to give it to you really quickly.
Yeah.
Which I should have gone to like, should have been waiting just one thing, I guess. Trying to get to the B movie was too much maybe.
Yeah. In the future,
I don't got time for all that stream tonight instead.
Or maybe I could work on.
My computer already gets like 3 frames, 3
That's the
FPS.
thing,
Yeah.
you could redo chapter 1, where it's, make it less of an SMFL intro, make it more of a C++. Because you're like, hey, here's main, here's hello world,
Yeah.
here's me adding the background, here's me adding the loop.
We still have to gauge the level.
If people are interested, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it might be a good idea, well, that book does look pretty nice. Maybe try to find something that has a bit of an easier, like, setup process.
And look at the Python books. There's also a free author, I forget what his name is, but he's got 3 books online, and he's got to Python. But looking at the projects, I'm like, this is a hard sell. Like, you're trying to sell Python, you're not trying to sell game making. That's the problem. You're like, hey, you're gonna have to learn Python before you can make these.
Yeah. Though, yeah.
I would gladly take recommendations. Do you have a book that you think has?
Yeah, that's not something I have.
I was asking around, I'm like, yeah, I got Py games. I started looking into books. I'm like, oh no, these are Py books. They're not Py games. Right? And